everyone, and welcome back to the Freight Break, the flagship podcast of the Broker Carrier Summit, the BCS Freight Network, and your go-to podcast for navigating the logistics and transportation industries. I am your host, Dan Lindsay, and each week, well, nearly each week, we've been off for a couple of weeks, we bring you insights from industry experts to help you win the freight game. Before we dive in, I have to say something specifically directly to the freight brokers, the ones sending rate cons out while you listen to the show. Give me a second. Stop what you're doing and listen. I've got something for you, something that is going to make your life a whole hell of a lot easier. TIE TMS. TIE TMS is a next generation TMS that simplifies your workflow through end-to-end automation, saving you hours of manual work every single week. Everything from quoting to carrier selection to invoicing, TIE can handle, exponentially boosting your efficiency. It also integrates seamlessly with all the tools you already use. Tools like load boards, carrier networks, vetting tools, visibility platforms, you name it, consolidating everything into one place so you're not jumping between tabs or tools. You don't need 75 different monitors looking for different parts of your business all the time. And the best part is it's designed specifically for you, the freight broker, in mind. Easy to use, fast, and reliable. If you're ready to step up your game this year, then head on over to tiesoftware.com and see how TIE can transform your business. All right, everyone, we've got a great show for you today. First of all, for those of you waiting with bated breath for our announcement, something is still coming, something big. Thank you for your patience. We are running through our final round of checks, and we will be making our announcement very, very soon. Something is, in fact, coming. It's going to be big. It's going to shake up the freight industry, and it's going to redefine the trajectory of not only the Broker Carrier Summit and the BCS Network, but everything that moves over the road as well. All right. Also, one more announcement for you. Early bird pricing for the Indianapolis Summit is still in effect, but it will be going away on the 27th. So if you want to save some money, head on over to the link at the bottom of the screen and register today. April 28th to May 2nd, Indianapolis, Indiana, the biggest, best, and newest Broker Carrier Summit in Indianapolis. We are excited, and I'm excited to see all of you there as well. All right. So we are fresh off the plane from the Manifest Conference last week in sunny, fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Thankfully, my plane did not crash on the runway in Toronto. That was horrible. For those of you who saw that, that was crazy. But we got landed safely back in Indianapolis to a balmy 8 degrees and 3 inches of snow. So it's a great week here in the Midwest. It was a great week last week for the BCS and for the team. We got to meet some awesome people, got to connect with our sponsors and partners, both past, present, and hopefully future. And so I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit today. But we've also got a guest, a good friend of mine, Mr. Zack Heigelmann with Revenova. Please welcome him to the show.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for giving me a chance to breathe. I talk really, really fast, and sometimes I get ahead of myself. So welcome. How are you?
Good. A little warmer than Indy. I'm over here in Cleveland, Ohio. It's about 15 degrees. Got about 6 to 8 inches of snow over the weekend. Not as much as Canada. Had about 3 feet over the last 2 weeks, but a little chilly, right?
Save some of that sun for us, would you, please? We got negative 20 degree wind chills this week, so that's going to be great.
Not too bad, right?
Yeah. I would rather be in Las Vegas weather-wise at this point. So,
yeah, I'd rather be there with you.
Yeah. Now were you there in Las Vegas? Your team was there.
Unfortunately, I was not there, but we had a handful of folks at Revenova be there. Had a great outcome. Networking was fantastic. I did see the after party with Mr. Flo Rida and the strongest man in logistics, Robert Bain, which he killed it on the dance floor, right?
Dude, who knew Robert Bain? Who besides Robert Bain knew that Robert Bain had moves? I didn't know that Robert Bain had moves. So
I'll tell you what, I don't know if I would have been on the dance floor, but I would have been in the audience watching the entertainment for sure.
I would absolutely not have been on the dance floor. That is one of the few things I can say with certainty. Me and dance floors do not mix. Hey, guess what? I did come back with a huge stack of chips. You see these? Look at these. For those of you who are in Las Vegas with us, there's about 30 more of these. We had our first stop on the BCS Big Road Tour with Freight Movement, sponsored by MS Fuel Card, Multi-Service Fuel Card. I apologize. I still get that name wrong. But it was a huge success. First night of Manifest, Monday night, 7 to 10. We had probably close to 250 people in a space that was designed for 120. So apologize to the fire marshal, but the BCS closed it freaking down in Las Vegas at Manifest last week. So glad to have everybody who joined us there. I know the Revenova team was there.
Yep.
So it was a good time. What kind of feedback did you get, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our teammates and my colleagues said they networked with a bunch of folks. A lot of our vendors and partners, like you mentioned, met some new folks as well with some new tech coming down the road. So overall, it was a fantastic event. We got a bunch of leads our way as well. So definitely we'll be making the appearance of the next one to come.
Good. Excellent. So yeah, the next one to come is going to be actually a Mid-America Truck Show in March. So stay tuned to that. There's going to be some more announcements to that effect. We have 11 more cities to come throughout the year. So we are bringing the BCS to a city near you at some point. So very cool. All right. Well, Zach, tell me a little bit about yourself, my friend. Or for the people that don't know you, where did you come from? How did you land at Revenova? And what in the world do you do in the freight world?
Yeah, perfect. I appreciate it. So almost a decade in the industry. I'm about 9 years now. Started out as an intern at TQL. So how I got into
Which office at TQL?
The Cleveland office, Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. I was in the Indianapolis office for 6 years.
Oh, nice. I was just under 2. So funny story is I needed an internship to graduate University of Akron. Shout out LeBron. But I had a bunch of offers for internships, and I was like, none of them were paying other than TQL. So I said, hey, I'd rather work and get paid. So I jumped into TQL as an intern, crushed it. Then they hired me on as a full-time an FTE. Great outcome there. Made a bunch of good folks. I actually met my wife at TQL. So that was the biggest thing I got out of TQL.
Was she a freight broker too?
Yeah, she was a broker too. She got out a little sooner than I did. She was not stuck in logistics like most of us, but I'm stuck in it for life, right? But after TQL, I went to go work for Lance Healy at Banyan for about 5 years or so on the TMS space. Got hooked on the tech. Loved kind of hearing how people have their processes. A lot of manual processes to date, which we'll talk about more in this call. And then kind of fell into Revenova right there. That's where I'm at today. Been here about 2.5 years. We're a TMS that's built and native on Salesforce, aka a CRM powered TMS. Love it here and do not see myself moving anytime soon.
Very cool. And so at Revenova, who is your target customer? Who is your target market?
Yeah, so we're an enterprise TMS. I'd say definitely we have about 11 to 12 of the top 100 brokers in North America. So we have customers with just a handful of users to customers that have thousands of users. So it's definitely a premier TMS out there today. So we have a mixed bag of customers today.
Okay, you mentioned you're a you're a CRM based TMS. How does that differ from other TMS platforms?
Yeah, it's a great question. So that's kind of what caught my eye with Revenova, right? So what our founders came up with, they're like, hey, Salesforce is a CRM, right? So a lot of TMSs and systems, you're kind of jumping back and forth with systems. Maybe you're logging your sales calls, your tasks, how you're managing your customers. And they thought, why not have this on one whole platform, right? So I'm not going to move back and forth. My sales team can focus on the sales part in the CRM, and then they can manage their customers, they can manage their carriers, and then they can manage all the freight and logistics in between in one complete system.
Very, very cool. And what, in your mind, what sets you guys? What's your secret sauce? What's your distinctive trait when it comes to how you approach your customers differently?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we got a bunch of secret sauces, but I think the main secret sauce is the flexibility of the platform, right? We're built on Salesforce. There's an open API. We don't have access to your data, right? So we're not going to resell your data. We don't have access to your data. It's on one of the most secure platforms in the world. If our partners or customers want to do any custom integrations, they truly have the keys to kind of drive and make the platform as much as they want without even telling us, right? A lot of our customers, it's kind of funny when we see them at these trade shows, they'll come to us and they'll boast about all these integrations and all this customization they do. And we're like, why didn't you tell us that? We could have did that as a global enhancement because we do 4 product releases a year. So they're totally free for our customers. They're influenced by our customers, but I love the platform. It's on Salesforce. They invest over $1 billion with a B in research, development, safety, security protocols. So definitely is a premium platform, I would say.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I'm the only sales guy that I know. I've been in sales since 2011. in different capacities. I've never actually used Salesforce as a platform. Is that weird?
Hey, I mean, it is what it is, right? So if you're comfortable with the system, adaption's hard to do, right? So I'm a big Salesforce. I've only used Salesforce in my last decade of working, right? So I'm very comfortable. You can configure as much as you want with the platform. So definitely take a look if you're open to it, right?
Yeah, sure. We'll definitely look at that. So one of the things is we just got back from Las Vegas, Nevada, from the Manifest Conference. Nearly 7,000 or over 7,000 people there, depending on who you listen to. All of them were talking about AI, and I've got to tell you, I don't want to have another AI based conversation for the next 4.5 years, but I still don't know what the big. I know what the big deal is about AI, right? I know that it's super efficient and it allows you and your teams to do multiple jobs all at once. But what is the big thing around AI, specifically in the TMS space?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that's kind of a good thing about this industry is there's so many good vendors and providers of TMSs as well as other software and technologies. But I think everyone kind of has their own goal. Everyone has the same goal, right? They want to make everyone more efficient, right? They want to eliminate these manual tasks so that I can focus on maybe growing more with my customer. I mean, Revenova, we just came out with our AI tool. We kind of humanized it. We're calling it Artemis. So it's a nice little logo. You can see it up on our LinkedIn, but we just released our phase 1. And with phase 1, it can automate load building. It can help with your carry capacity and eliminate a lot of manual tasks. So it is phase 1, but I think at the end of the day, with all these other vendors and providers doing AI, it's going to leave a lot of this manual work off of the users so they can focus on growing their book of business, right? Giving their customer more better updates on shipments and all that stuff through automation and the AI.
Yeah. So Artemis, talk to me about how deeply I should read into that. Should I go the Artemis fowl route, or should I go all the way down to the Greeks and talk about the ancient goddesses?
Oh, whichever route you want to go.
Perfect answer. I had no idea. Very cool. So let me ask you a question then. So one of the things we do at the BCS is we try and bridge the gap between brokers and carriers. One of the ways we do that is through education, industry-based education. So when it comes to AI and when it comes to transportation management systems, why should carriers care about AI and what should they be looking for in their management system?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a bigger obstacle, I would say, for the carriers for AI rather than the broker, right? Because
that's why we started with them. Yeah, the broker question's easy. Yeah.
So for carriers, I think it's more so maybe that they'll have more opportunities down the road through AI. Maybe a lot of brokers are missing quotes from their customers to get out to their carriers, right? So maybe the AI tool for the carrier part, they'll have more efficiency getting more quotes as well as the tracking, right? So instead of getting those little check calls when I used to be the click and call guy, getting the check calls at TQL, maybe this AI tool can help automate that process, right? And I know there are automated tracking partners out there today, but maybe this will help limit the amount of phone calls that get blown up by the brokers, and then they can kind of stay on top of things quicker.
Yeah. Well, and that's something else that I noticed this past week, that the number of companies coming out with new AI tools, the number of companies saying they are going to do similar things is absolutely astounding in the freight space. What should carriers and brokers, what should an owner operator be looking for in a technology partner?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is let's identify the gaps, right? What gaps is that carrier and or broker dealing with today? What obstacles are they doing that's preventing them from taking the next step? If that's growing or that's being more efficient with their work, and let's identify how we can overcome those obstacles or gaps, right? Can AI do that, or can automation do that, right? I think those are the main keys, I would say.
What about, so one of the things I was talking with a couple of people about last week was AI in potentially helping prevent fraud. Obviously, fraud is a huge issue in the industry. You guys just partner with Highway, is that right?
Yes, Highway is one of our carrier onboarding and vetting partners today. Yeah, it's one of our newest ones. They're fantastic. I mean, I hear nothing but great things about them. a lot of our new logos coming on board, they're already in touch with them, talking to them, and using their platform today. So yeah, they're doing great things.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, I know the team over there. They're good partners of and sponsors of the BCS. So it's really cool to see how everybody's coming together in different ways around trying to solve problems in the industry. And one of the things that I really love is just seeing other people win. I never thought I'd say that as a a business person, but I'm genuinely excited about seeing whether it's our sponsors, our partners, our carriers, our brokers, whoever is associated with BCS. I love watching them get deals done.
Absolutely.
So very, very cool. It's a cool community that we're building. I'm glad you guys are a part of it.
Yeah, it's a small community as a whole in industry, right? Everyone kind of knows everyone, and then everyone has a common goal, right? They want to be as efficient as possible, and then, like you said, that the freight fraud, right? Everyone's trying to come together to come up with the best solution to eliminate that, right?
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the market for a little bit. Obviously, everybody's hopeful of a market turnaround in sometime in 2025. I know that depending on which data set you look at, will in large part determine your answer as to the when and the how of that. But when you look at 2025 and the freight landscape from Revenova's perspective, what do you see?
Yeah, so definitely depends on the geographic locations, right? So I mean, my customers up north in Canada, they're a little delayed from us in the States, usually by a quarter or two, but we're seeing nothing. We're seeing a lot of positive trends in the right direction. If that's from adding new logos or our customer feedback saying, hey, it is opening up. It's becoming more and more positive. That's the feedback that I'm hearing from our customers and prospects and vendors today.
Are they kind of giving any indications as to what's driving that?
Nothing that I can say that they're saying, hey, it's just flipping because of this. I don't know if it's the new president in office or whatnot, but I don't want to get into politics, right? But
no,
I would just say the feedback that I'm hearing, right, is that things are turning for the better.
Gotcha. The only thing I will say about politics right now is if Canada did end up becoming the 51st state, it would eliminate a lot of congestion at the border. So,
yes, no, I would totally agree with that one. Yeah, they're a little worried up there.
Yeah. So, well, very, very cool.
I heard it's more so they can get the freight coming in the U.S., but it's more so leaving the U.S. is what they're having trouble with, those backhauls.
Well, and that's what I always had trouble with. I used to move farm equipment out of Texas and Kansas, and relatively simple shipments. But if you have one item that's even slightly out of place on your purchase order, or if your PARS number is not completely visible or something like that, it creates a bottleneck, and you could be there for hours, even days. I had a guy sit at the border for 4 days because he didn't have the correct formatting on an invoice.
Oh gosh.
So yeah. So very interesting things.
Yeah, I used to move steel coils up to Canada, so in and out of Canada with flatbeds back in the day. So yeah, definitely. I've had drivers and carriers kind of stay there for a long period of time.
Yeah, did you go through Niagara, or did you go through the international?
It was Niagara. It was Niagara for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my guy got stuck for 4 days. Yeah.
You say 4 days?
4 days. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was over the weekend, and it was a long story. The customs broker wasn't cooperative. The shipper was not interested in staying over the weekend and helping us out. So yeah, that was a great time. So
that's a rough one.
Well, what else is new, man? What's going on in your guys' world that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good things are coming. We just had our new release come up here with our Revenova. We just announced it to our customers last week, a whole webinar for that. Definitely the biggest new trend on our side is we're investing a lot on the fleet side, right? Our bread and butter has always been on the brokerage side, but we've definitely just beefed up our fleet module, and we're getting more and more customers and logos on board to join us on this fleet adventure. So I'm not an expert on the fleet side yet, but I hope soon to be, as I am. And I think I'm an expert on the brokerage side. I got to learn a lot more on the fleet side.
Yep. So when it comes to the brokerage side, what are you finding, or what are your customers' feedback on the value they receive from the platform. What are brokers looking for in a TMS right now?
Yeah.
Obviously, automation with AI. That's huge. But what else?
Yeah, you'll be surprised how many brokers and or carriers today that are still on Excel using spreadsheets, right? So the biggest thing is the adoption to change. That's the biggest obstacle, I would say, for anyone to kind of switch systems. But what we see a lot of success is we're built on Salesforce, and I always say that a bunch, but it gives us the upper hand to our competitors because if they have a tech team or an IT team on staff, they can configure or customize as much as they want on the platform. They want to do an integration with someone we're not hooked up with today, they can do that themselves. They can come to us. They can hire a third party. But on top of that, with our integrations we already have put in place, right? We have our whole network. We have about 50 partners today. They're all, for the most part, they're all plug and plays, right? You just you throw in your credentials, you test it, you turn it on to production, it's done. So we try to make it as easy as possible for our customers and partners today.
That is one of the I can imagine one of the more frustrating pieces of the transportation industry is that it's not just brokers. In fact, brokers are one of the most quick to adopt new technologies, but the adoption of new technologies across the industry is extremely slow.
Yes.
I remember, and this story has been told over and over again, but the proverbial, back over when I was brokering freight, we trying to get drivers to download MacroPoint back in the day. It was a hard lift. And so I can imagine how frustrating that is. That's one of the surprising things that Manifest has showed me over the last few years is just the amount of the sheer number of new companies entering into the freight tech space. Mm-hmm. How is navigating the freight tech environment in an industry that is slow to adopt new technology?
Yeah. So a funny story on that. So a good thing is while they're looking at new vendors for a TMS, for an example, maybe they're used to their own process or processes today. So a funny story, when we were getting a new logo on board, we showed them the whole platform and they brought in their back end folks and they're like, hey, this is way too many clicks, right? It's 7 clicks. I'm like, well, it's really not that many clicks from what you're doing from point A to point Z. So show me what you're doing today. So they shared their screen. And then I have I'm like keeping track of how many clicks they're doing. They're at like 15. So I'm like, hey, you show me your process, but it's 15 clicks compared to my 7 or 6. Is it just because you're used to your platform, right? So it's just, they're so used to their current system that they're comfortable with. They don't want to be retrained on something new. I think that's the biggest obstacle. But going back to your question, I think it's just showing the overall value, right? How powerful is this system? What can it do? What can't it do? And does it fill the gaps that I currently have today that's preventing me from taking that next level? If that's growing my business, adding more users to my headcount. It's kind of just identifying the value and can we overcome these obstacles?
Very cool. Yeah. Our friend Shimmy Munson says, I am stoked to do a demo with Revenova. So you have a fan there.
Oh, perfect. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Jamal has a question. He says, what's your advice or insight when it comes to building broker credit? Do you guys enter into that world at all?
Broker credit? No, we're
you guys a carrier?
In our system today, you can set a credit limit for them, but we're not able to pull their credit. We don't have any partners today. I know we're probably looking into that, but I don't have too much knowledge on that part, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so sorry, Jamal. That's right. I'll speak to Jamal from my experience as a freight broker. Reputation matters. Reputation absolutely matters. Also, the partners that you have. Whether it is a factoring relationship or a relationship with a bank, those can absolutely help you. And just being as transparent and as open with the broker as possible when it comes to your number of trucks, your locations, and make sure when we do a whole call it a seminar or a class or a breakout session on this at the BCS is the top 10 rules of broker carrier relationships. And one of them is communication. So make sure you communicate effectively and efficiently with the broker. Make sure you know who to talk to at the brokerage. so that you're not talking to a carrier sales rep for an hour and a half about trying to build credit, and lo and behold, they're not the person you need to talk to. So happy to follow up on that if you have any more questions on that. So
great
Zach, yeah, been around the block or two. So what is the rest of the month of February and March hold for you guys?
So I'd say just releasing our new, or kind of deploying our new release to our customers, kind of hitting hard on this new AI tool we came up with today, as well as our fleet updates. Keep networking with our folks from Manifest that we met, getting ready for your whole thing in Indy in about 70 days or whatnot. So we're kind of getting excited, ready to go to that. But just kind of diving in with our current, our Manifest leads, our people that we networked with, kind of getting feedback from our customers on all of our new products. But it's definitely looking very exciting this year. We have some high targets that we're going to crush.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it's really cool to see the intersection with people and companies. So we know a lot of the same people. So Jenny Malfarina, right?
Yep, I worked with her at Banyan Technology. So I've been talking to her for quite some time. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I know. She's got a coffee meetup. I think it's in a few weeks over here on the outside of Cleveland. So looking forward to going to that. So yeah, she's fantastic. She does a great job at Virago, and then freight movement as well. So very excited for that.
Yeah, it's been fun working with her and the freight movement team on putting together the tour. They know their stuff. They really do.
Absolutely.
They've been a real blessing to us, because I tend to kind of just get scattered all over the place. So they do a really good job of bringing us all together and helping us out there. So
yeah, she's fantastic. So I'm excited for her as she's doing this whole freight movement thing, and look forward to connecting with her soon.
Very, very cool, my friend. Well, hey, it's always great chatting with you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Are you guys going to be at TIA as well?
Yes, that's in San Antonio, I believe, right? Yeah. So we'll have a whole booth there. We'll have a bunch of our folks there. I think we're bringing like 5 or 6 folks there. So definitely make sure y'all.
Are you going to be there?
I will not. So my wife's pregnant, due in July, so I can't travel that much beforehand. So I will be in Indy for your guys' whole thing, but I will not be in San Antonio.
Gotcha. Well, we will see the Revenova team again. If not at Matt's, we'll see you at TIA and then the Broker Carrier Summit. So
perfect. We should be at all of them. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, very cool, my friend. Thank you again for stopping by. Always great talking with you, and we will chat soon.
Yes, sir. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right. You too, Zach.